welcome to the Lincolnshire Buzzcast, a podcast where we take a real-life humorous look at life in Lincolnshire, as well as interview some amazing people who are doing some fantastic things in the county. I'm Lizzie.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Hannah.
Coming up on today's show,
Lizzie discovers that tents aren't waterproof with disastrous consequences.
Lizi and Hanna managed to wait a full 25 minutes without bringing up dogs, which is a new personal best.
Correct. And we talk all things cheesenessy with our guests.
Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Lincolnshire Buzzcast with me, Lizzie.
And me, Hannah.
Welcome. We are pleased to have you back. This episode, we've got some exciting interviews coming up with people from the Lincoln and Beyond blog. But before then, me and Hannah want to talk to you a little bit about summer, because that's what's going on in the world. Summer's going on. We've had some sunshine. We've had a lot of rain, but we've also had a little bit of sunshine.
Yeah, we've had the odd bit of sunshine poking through the British cloud.
I won't go as far as say I've managed to rack up a tan, but
no.
I have felt the warmth of the sun on my back. I did go on holiday, I say like a little weekend trip away to Whitby, and it rained solidly, of which I learned, top tip, anyone who goes camping, apparently your tents can run out of waterproof. I didn't know that.
Yes. How did you not know this? And you're a dedicated campist.
I don't think I've had a tent that's lasted longer than 5 years, so this might be why. But yeah, we were all sat in, because we went away with some friends, and we were all sat in our little like porch area, like just playing a few games and getting and chatting and things, and it started to like drip in, and we thought maybe the tent was not had the right tension, so we sort of re-pegged it out and stuff. It was just coming in more, and then we realised that it had lost its waterproofness. It was, all the bedding was getting wet. It was getting, because it was really raining on Friday, like really raining. So we had to disperse our family into everyone's other tent. So me and my husband slept in the back of my brother's van that he hired to take the camping gear down. My son stayed in with some friends, and my daughter stayed in with my brother's tent. So our family got totally split up. It was a good idea though, because the next morning we went into our tent and it was like we'd hired a swimming pool. I was like, is this glamping?
Yeah, that's definitely glamorous if you were to take your waders.
Yeah, we took our swimming pool with us camping, as it turns out. So yeah, we've got to re-waterproof the tent. Didn't know that was a thing. Do now, thanks to the lovely rain of summer.
Well, yeah, I think I've done something similar. I sort of had a couple of trips away in our camper van to Wales.
But yes, you don't have the lack of waterproof problem in that, do you? Because you are in a van. I did feel like I was in a camper van when I was in the back of my brother's van, yeah. But yours is never going to run out of waterproofness, is it?
Well, no, but we did discover on the first time that we took it out, we just went to Skipsea the first time that we took it out, just so we weren't too far away from home. Literally just hopped over the bridge back into good old Yorkshire, and we went there and we thought, well, if it all goes drastically wrong, we can literally drive home in like an hour and a half. So we did just take it to Skipsea, and we did discover that when someone had done like the roof bars or whatever they'd done, they'd not filled the holes in on the roof, so it was just like Chinese water torture, just drip, drip, drip. So I do feel your pain, but at least ours were only the odd drip that we discovered. Nothing too drastic.
No. Well, despite the horror with our tent, I mean, we left it up like all weekend. I don't know why, in case like the weather changed and we could go back in it. So we were packing it away on Sunday when the sun came out as we were packing it away, obviously. And we just me and my husband were just like, "You've let us down, tent." We're so mad at you. Like basically, all we did was put it up and put it down again. It served no purpose other than it getting wet. So I now have to wash it all and air it out, which is very nice.
Are you one of them families that pegs it up on your washing line in your backyard and it's flapping away?
Yeah. You have to do that if you put your tent away wet. You have to air it out. Obviously, we're gonna wash our inner a bit because obviously it's got a bit gross. But we are gonna have to put it back up again because it's a spray. Apparently, you just have to spray it. We spray it. So if anyone has any tips or anyone knows any good waterproofing, then please do let me know, because I have never done this before. So
there is. I'm going to plug a company here. But if you go to Ellis Brigham Mountain Sports, you can get something called Tech Wash.
Wash.
Yeah, and
noting that down.
The Tech Wash is the one that's for your clothes, but they do a tent spray on one, and I'm sure it's called Nick Wax, N-I-K Wax. And it's a really good brand. It's what I use for all my like walking and outdoor gear. Swear by it.
Well, top tip there, and you can use that top tip to go camping in Lincolnshire, just to bring it back to Lincolnshire, which is something that we will be discussing with our guests, actually, because they've done some pretty fantastic blogs. One about Andaby Creek. I love camping in Andaby Creek. Absolutely love it. In fact, I was a bit aggrieved to see it on there, because it's quite a secluded spot, and I like it. I like it being a little hidden treasure.
Keep it secret.
I saw it on there. I was like, no, don't tell the people. I love it. Lincoln, we are actually blessed with a lot of good camping spots in Lincolnshire. Yeah. I mean, the fact we've got a lot of field space is fab. But Andaby Creek, definitely recommend it, but not too heavily, because it's a nice little secluded beach, but it's a little stone's throw away from good old Skeggy. If you're going to go and do that. But also Mablethorpe, cracking holiday.
Yeah, and you can get to Louth from there, which, if you like the more architecture side of things, you've got quirky little town of Louth to go to.
Yeah, absolutely. So other things that are happening in summer is Lincoln City Foundation are running our holiday club, which my son went to the other week, which was great. So I'm just going to drop in a little plug for that, because we're loving Holiday Club. Holiday Club is really fun, because it's just nice to have like just all the kids around having fun. Like, it's just even if you're not involved in it. So I don't coach, so I don't do that element of it. But even if I'm going out to take pictures and stuff, it's just really nice. Just nice to see kids happy, laughing, having fun, doing all that kind of stuff. Like, it's lovely. And it was handy having my son out there, because as I say, I was out there to do some photography, and I can make him work.
Yeah, it's not seen as child labour if he's actually there to have fun and you're just slyly saying to him, stand in this position.
Absolutely no, but it is real joy, and it was actually quite funny, because I'd gone back into the office to do some work, and the coaches came in and told me that he'd taken over and was coaching the session.
And he's learning quick then. He's learning quick. That's what we like.
And he decided to go by Coach John, because his dad's called Johnny. So he decided he'd be called Coach John after his dad. His dad coaches his grassroots team. So that's adorable. Like that, I told my husband that, and I could see he was fighting back the tears of pride. He was like, did he? Which was nice.
Adorable. That is adorable.
Do you know what? One of the greatest things about it, actually, is you get to see the imagination of kids is nothing to be like quashed. Like, they come up with some stuff that you would never in your adult life think of, and they're just it's flexible. So we do have, obviously, we don't just tip up and see what kids want to, and we do have a plan. We do come to Holiday Club with a plan, but occasionally a child will invent a game. Yes. And that's what they've been doing. So there's been some really great new inventing of a game, and we don't like to quash that that spirit. So we've just been sort of letting the kids teach us their invented game. But we've been, coaches have been learning some stuff this Holiday Club. It's been great. I think the last time I was out there, they had one where they had, it was basically like a ring toss game, but a bit more complex. I think you had to throw all the hula hoops at once, and there was beanbags around. I don't know. They'd invented this. This was the younger group, but I was like, I totally want to play that.
Yeah, that looks quite cool. But did I not hear that we're now doing multi-sport Mondays?
Multi-sport Mondays, yes. And actually, we had a meeting today. Here's a little sneak preview for anyone who listens to the podcast, guys, because this is not due to be announced for another few weeks. But we are working on something extra special for our October Holiday Club. So we want to go in a little, obviously football always has a place at our Holiday Club. It's what we do. But we're looking on having some little more Halloween, October-y stuff, themed things going on. Things to do with pumpkins, things a little bit different to what we usually do. We might potentially be utilising my drama skills in one of the sessions.
Bravo!
So watch this space.
Oh, I'm very excited.
I'm very excited to make the poster for it because I'll get to use a lot of Halloween stuff.
Yes. Halloween is like the best time of year. I just love Halloween.
Well, I was speaking to someone the other day actually, and they said they prefer Halloween to Christmas, and I'm not kind of
I'm not sure I could go that far, but it is like if you were talking about seasons, I genuinely think autumn as a season is the best time of year because you've got Halloween, because you've got hot chocolates, and
you would. You're the ginger. You love anything orange.
I don't. It clashes with me. It makes me look like a Satsuma.
No, you blend in. It's like your natural camouflage has come out. You can just blend in with your surroundings. Like, where's Hannah?
And I'm just some eyes and teeth.
No wonder you love autumn. I love. Actually, I'm finding it more of a popular opinion. I prefer Christmas Eve to Christmas Day.
I think as you get older, you do start to appreciate Christmas Eve because you've got all the build-up and it's all cosy and it's the calm and it's the telly and the nibbles. Yeah, I quite like Christmas Eve. We have a tradition for Christmas Eve, so I like the tradition of Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day is like the madness, and then you get Boxing Day that's like, oh...
It's ever so soon, Christmas Day. I think that's the problem. I always make sure I get Christmas Eve off when I'm booking off holidays because I really love it. We do loads of, like, as you say, we have our traditions in. Like, we go see the Panto, the Scunny Panto, giving that shout out. That's a great pantomime. If you've never been to a pantomime or you're looking for one to go.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. Annie Fanny, who is the Scunthorpe pantomime dame, is hilarious, and I can't wait to see, because it got cancelled last year. I can't wait to see this year and all the jokes she's going to make about the fact it was cancelled because of COVID. She's going to be on one like no one's business, so I cannot wait to see that. So if you've never seen the Scunthorpe pantomime, I should use the proper name, the Scunthorpe pantomime, absolutely highly recommend it. But yeah, I love it because we go there, it's all like you're smoking out the reindeer food out, it's because when you've got kids, it's all the anticipation of Santa coming. And all that kind of, like, it's just so exciting. And we do things like bake gingerbread, and we have little hot chocolates, and we have like the Christmas Eve box that's become more popular. I love it. I can't wait for that season. As much as I love summer, I'm loving it less and looking forward to winter more. I think it's because we get like a week of summer, really.
Yeah, weather. Today has been a good summer's day, and I've been sat just longingly looking out my window because I've had loads of work to do.
I know, me too. We ate dinner outside. I'm trying on sunny days. I try to eat dinner outside, so I think it's really important to get that little bit of vitamin D, just for your well-being. For a start, so anyone who is still working at home or does work at home anyway, or he's off with the kids and is inside for whatever reason, it is important to, perhaps you've been pinged rather like I have, you can still go in the garden. So I think it's important to get that little bit of like sunshiny ray like just on you, just if it's at least just to eat dinner out there or just sit and read a book for a little bit, but it just so much for your well-being. It's unreal. But it's a thing, isn't it? It's science. It's actual science. I'm not making it up.
Because you can have, what is it, seasonal
affective disorder, something like that.
It's sad.
It's sad.
It's because you're not getting enough sunlight and daylight and vitamin D. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole thing that, like, in the winter, as everybody's much more, their mood changes. That's basically what it means, isn't it? When it's the winter and the night's drawing closer, when you start work in the like dark and you end it in the dark, that's when that seasonal affective disorder comes in, because you're not getting that important bit of vitamin D, which is why, again, lunchtime, very important.
Go for a mooch.
Go for a mooch on your lunch break. It's actually, it's so little, but so important. It actually it really does help your mood.
It definitely does. And talking about helping mood, just want to give a shout out to, I suppose, a lot of management teams and leadership teams, because they've been through the ringer over the past 18 months, haven't they? Yeah. But our leadership team, I'm just going to sing their praises, that they set up a couple of fun days for us. And the highlight of my 2 fun days was laughing yoga. I absolutely looked like there were some of our colleagues that were stood there. If people have never tried this, definitely recommend it.
Google it first, though.
Yes, yeah, do Google it, because some of our colleagues were literally like, what on earth is going on? What on earth is that? Whereas me and you and a couple of our other colleagues that were stood around us because they had no choice were joining in with the festivities. And it was the greatest, hour? Did you do an hour of laughing yoga? I mean, there's no yoga involved in it. It was literally just laughing in different sort of shapes and chasing lawnmowers around 3G or whatever we were doing. It was hilarious.
Yeah, so it's basically, it's a little bit like performance art is how I would describe it. It's definitely a performance art. And it's basically just getting you to laugh out loud, like, throughout the whole session, but there's 2 different things. So you laugh, like, to a lawnmower sound, so like, and then you have to
it makes me laugh now.
And do that, or like you have to like pass the laugh on, or you have to, and you had to be really out of your comfort zone. So anyone who's quite an introvert, which is our members of staff that were, self-proclaimed introvert, like that, they did struggle with that. So it was a mixed reviews we had. I loved it. Although me and you took it upon ourselves to make others laugh. So everyone else who felt uncomfortable, we laughed so ridiculously and got in that they were just laughing at us, which it happened. So it's not the first time we've offered ourselves on the altar of humiliation for the greater good, and it won't be the last, but we did for that one. But on it, that is because it's good to laugh. I think the whole precedent behind that, like, and why it's a thing of well-being, is the art of actual laughing makes you feel better, even if you're feeling so low. Obviously, look at your surroundings, because if you just sat on a bus and you start laughing out loud, you're going to get some looks.
We got some looks. We were on the 3G at the LNER Stadium, and we're having a lot of building works done, aren't we? Refurbishment works done at minute, and there were businessmen walking past. There were some of the club staff walking past.
I was going to say, members of the club staff that we have meetings with frequently afterwards. Like, what was that?
So definitely check your surroundings, and even if you think they're safe, they're not.
So there is something to be said. So if you're feeling really low, just laugh out loud.
Yeah.
See what happens. Give it a whirl. But yes, we enjoyed it, so we would recommend it definitely. But if you are booking it for a huge team, maybe just check some Google, see what it's about, see how it will work.
Or just force them into it. They'll laugh anyway.
But actually, on that, so we did a couple of other things on that day, and we went to Green Synergy, which is a local group in Lincoln. We're going to have the team from Green Synergy on the podcast soon, actually, because we really want to talk and spread the word more about what they do. It's all about well-being in the garden and getting down and back to nature in terms of that. So we had a lovely sort of corporate away day sort of experience with them, and some of the stuff they do in the community and with that was absolutely amazing. So do look out for that episode, because that will be coming out soon, because we do want to share their wonderful world as well.
Yes, it was so good. I was so excited when I dug up some taties.
Which is odd, because you have an allotment, so it's not like you don't dig up taties.
My taties weren't ready, so I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get to dig up some taties, because I was still waiting for mine. I only dug mine up 2 days ago.
That's amazing. It's great. So speaking of guests, shall we get ours on?
Yes, let's do that. So, on this week's podcast, we've got Alex and Lisa, who are the writers and founders of the Lincoln and Beyond blog, and I believe you've just been shortlisted for the Best Storytelling category at the Travers Creator Awards. Welcome to the podcast, and could you tell us some more?
Hello. Hi. Well, thanks for that great introduction. Yeah, really happy to. Well, we only found out the news this week about the award, so really thrilled about that. But we both live in Lincoln. Lisa grew up in Lincoln, didn't you?
And I was here when I was really young, but we moved back a couple of years ago, and I think that's when we got inspired to talk about Lincoln to a wider audience, and that's where Lincoln and Beyond came from. And I work in a full-time role, so Alex kind of takes a lead on the blog. So if you want to talk a bit more about what it is, Alex.
Of course, yeah. So I guess to kind of backpedal slightly, it's actually our second blog project. So until a couple of years ago, we were actually living in London together. So it's kind of strange, really, because we both grew up in this area. I grew up down the road in Newark, but we didn't meet here. I was living in Manchester, Lisa was living in London, and we were both working for the same organisation. I ended up moving to London, and we often came back to the area because we still got a family around here. And then we both quit our jobs and went travelling for a year. Well, actually, Lisa was on a sabbatical, and we came back to London. And we started a blog called Career Gappers, which is all about taking travel career breaks. And after a while, we decided we wanted to leave London because it was just too expensive to really enjoy. Like, it's really hard. London's a great city, but it was just way too expensive to kind of enjoy the lifestyle there. And we kind of really had a pining to come back to this area, and especially with Lisa's family all being in Lincoln as well. So it's two and a half years ago now, like early 2019, we moved back, and we had this idea of setting up a new blog that would be all about Lincoln. And the original idea is it would be something that would kind of complement the work that organisations like Visit Lincoln are doing, but from like a personable locals perspective. So we're kind of giving insights to people who visit Lincoln from the perspective of people who live here and enjoy it, and give recommendations on things to do. But then we kind of kept putting it off, and then the pandemic happened, and that made our first blog, Career Gappers, not unviable, but it made it like really difficult. We're still running that as well, by the way, but obviously no one's wanting to travel or able to travel during the pandemic. So we thought this is actually a really good time to start this Lincoln blog because, first of all, we want to really help the tourism and hospitality scene here try and get back on its feet afterwards, but also, as we what we thought was like, as we come out of the pandemic, Lincoln and Lincolnshire, well, I say the beyond aspect is kind of Lincolnshire as a whole. So we're wanting to focus on the whole county. Lincolnshire has actually got so much going for it as a place where people might want to come and visit after the pandemic as an alternative to, like weekend breaks in Europe or whatever. So before people are comfortable doing that, they're likely to be looking for city breaks and things like that. So we thought, right, it's the perfect time to do it. So yeah, we just set it up last year. It's been kind of slow because we've not got that much time between us to work on it. And yeah, it was October last year we launched, so we're a few months in now. And just really excited about it. And we want to be a part of kind of putting Lincolnshire on the map.
It's a great story, absolutely. And you were almost award-winning. You're going to be able to put that in front of your title from now on, which I hope you do that in just a regular speech. Hello, I am the award-winning Alex and Lisa. When do you find out about the award?
Oh, so it's next month. It's September the 25th. I'll be honest, like I'll be shocked if we win it, because for us, it's just like we were shocked that we made the shortlist, because it's there's hundreds of people who applied to the Traverse Awards. We'd applied in the past for Career Gappers and not got on the shortlist. It's really competitive, and there are content creators from all over the world who apply. So when we saw that we've been shortlisted, we're just thrilled, to be honest. We don't have any expectations that we're going to win, but.
It's going to be a fun awards night, though, I hope.
Yeah.
Is it a virtual awards night, or is it an actual one that you actually get to go to now?
No, it's face to face in London. So yeah, there's an actual venue with real people.
Real people.
Wow. Yeah.
How exciting! So what I want to know about is obviously you love Lincoln. You can tell that from everything that you've written about. But looking at Lincolnshire as a whole, what is it, if you can pin it down to one thing that you love about Lincolnshire?
Oh, for me, Lincolnshire is completely about it's just the authenticity of it. Everything is really authentic and really historic, and the people are authentic and friendly. I just think it's really nice. And actually, you forget that it's like that when you're away for so long. And like Alex said, we were in London for 10 years, we travelled around. And coming back up actually was always, you really started to value it a lot more.
For me, it's about like the rural villages and like the small country pubs, like the riverside walks. The Lincolnshire Wolds is just fabulous. Like we like getting outdoors. We like doing walks. We've done that a lot on our travels. And one thing that we've been able to do during the pandemic, obviously once it was possible, was just really start exploring the outdoors in Lincolnshire, because like campsites started opening up a long time before hotels did, of course. And like earlier on this year, and we go camping a lot with Lisa's parents as well, actually, because they live in Lincoln. But we went for a camping weekend near Market Raisin. I think it was in Walesby Woods. And I remember doing just like a circuit walk around that part of the Wolds and stopping in Tilby to go to the village pub there. It's just, I think Lisa said, like the simplicity, like the authenticity of it. Like there's nothing pretentious about it, and obviously you've got all of the farmland in Lincolnshire as well. I think it's 20% of the food in the UK comes from Lincolnshire's farms. So when you go to those village pubs, you're going to get amazing food as well. So
absolutely, yeah. It's interesting actually that you brought up camping, because I was looking through earlier. A huge camper. We were speaking earlier about the fact I went at the weekend actually and discovered my tent was not waterproof anymore, which was not a good thing to discover this last weekend gone. But I noticed you've done a really good write up about Andibby Creek, which is actually my favourite place to go camping. So I'm actually slightly aggrieved that you've done that, because I love it, and now it looks like more people will go. Because obviously you referred to it as like a hidden gem of Lincolnshire, which it absolutely is, but I like it being hidden. So can you stop telling people about it?
Do you know what? We had the same concern last year, because I think it was The Guardian did an article on like the best wild beach walks in the UK, and they included Huttoft. And we were like, this is one of our favourite like quiet beaches. Don't go telling everyone about it.
Yes.
But then
obviously you have to tell people about it for the trade of the area. I get it. But no, it's a stunning place. I absolutely agree with everything that you've written about there. I love Andibby Creek, and I for someone who actually says don't talk about it, I'm actually talking about it on this podcast. So I'm going against what I've just said. But yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
I guess the great thing about that bit of the coast is, like, even on the very rare occasions when it does get busy, which doesn't happen very often, it's basically just one massive stretch of sand all the way, pretty much from Mablethorpe to Skeg, isn't it? So even if it's just a bit crowded, you can just walk 5 minutes down the beach and find somewhere else. So it's
which I actually nearly did once. Funny story about Mablethorpe. When I was little, we went on one of our many camping holidays, and I took a friend this time, and we'd got one of them. You know, the little like surfboard things that you can get on like that's the one. And we'd got some of them. I was like sat, and I was only a teenager, I think. I was just sat on it floating, talking to my friend, and we'd been sat talking for about an hour. I saw my mum come running down the beach, like waving around, like going crazy. And I was like, what is the problem? Like, we're like we're not really far in. And it turns out, because of the way the tide works, we had floated quite far down. Like, I think we'd been really lost for some time. And Mum obviously panicking that she had someone else's child as well. And we had actually really travelled very far down that coastline without even realising it. So yeah, very big stretch of beach, and you should be careful about that.
Yes. And it all looks the same. That's the worst thing.
Yes.
It does just look exactly the same.
I hadn't noticed when I saw her running. It just looked like she'd got up from where we'd left her. I didn't know what her issue was.
She'd run 5k and she was absolutely huffing and puffing.
She was huffing and puffing, very stressed, very warm, very not happy with me.
Oh dear. Well, I want to sort of off the back of that. We've looked at your website. Obviously, it's really thorough in terms of to do and food and places to stay. But is there a special place, a hidden gem that you've not talked about on your website that you would say is your favourite place that you like to visit, that you want to go to in Lincolnshire?
Liz, can you think? I'm trying to have a think about this. We've just actually... I don't know, actually. I've got an idea, but Lisa,
No, you go for it.
The cogs are turning. So
Yeah, I'm still thinking.
well, I don't know. We've just been away we've just actually been away camping in Woodall Spa, but just kind of away, like maybe a couple of miles outside. And this is the thing when we go camping as well. It's another camping story, this, I guess. That, like sometimes
you can't have enough camping stories.
It's just like sometimes sometimes the coolest campsites you find are like a little bit out of the way. So the campsite we stayed in this weekend just gone was just like a couple of miles outside of Woodall Spa, but it's on the River Bain, which is, I think, it's like the smaller river that kind of crosses over near the Witham, in just past Woodall Spa. And so we stayed on this campsite right by the River Bain, which was lovely in itself. It's got like a fishing lake, you can walk along the river, but you can, like, that the river from there goes like all the way up to Horncastle. We didn't actually do it this time, but you can walk, and I think that there's an actual trail that goes from Woodall Spa as well that goes all the way up that river, the River Bain, to Horncastle. And you might have noticed from our blog, we love doing like day walks that involve ending at a pub. So the great thing about this campsite is there's a pub literally next door to the campsite called the Ebrington Arms, which is another one of those like 18th century village pubs with the wooden beams inside and that kind of thing. So you could like maybe start in Horncastle or start at the campsite, walk to Horncastle and back on the river, and then go to this pub. So I don't know, that's just the kind of thing we like doing when we have like a free weekend, I guess.
Awesome. That sounds good. So we'll just be jotting that down, and myself and Lizzie will be doing that next weekend.
And I guess now you can just pass it off as blog research now.
Oh, of course. Yeah, everything's blog research.
What about you, Lisa?
I don't know. I'm with Alex on the river and the walks. I enjoy that. But I think going to some of the villages for me and some of the towns, I'm going to say Grimsby Fish Market, and we haven't written about that. But I'm saying that because we enjoy something we did quite a lot in London, because we lived near Billingsgate Market, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, fish market in Europe. We used to go really early and pick up fish and make our own sushi with friends. So yeah, places like Grimsby Fish Market, and then picking up some local beers from one of the local breweries, because there are quite a few in Lincolnshire. They're my hidden gems. That's what I like to do on a weekend, and we probably haven't covered that yet.
Absolutely. And if you're going to do Grimsby Fish Market, you have to do the Grimsby Heritage Centre, because that was pretty much all my school trip. Everyone went to Grimsby Heritage Centre as a school trip at some point.
Yeah.
And it's still a cracking place to visit as an adult.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to go back then. I haven't been since I was little. So that could be some more research we need to do there, Alex, I think.
Yeah, it's all about the research.
So I did notice on the thing that you are a cheese lover, Alex. You did write that in your bio. What is your favourite cheese, and is it Lincolnshire poacher?
Well, we definitely, this goes for Lisa as well. I mean, cheese for Lincolnshire cheeses, Coat Hill Blue is a personal favourite.
Yeah. Although a good poacher is also really good.
Yes, I quite like the smoky poacher.
Yeah, I was just going to say the smoky or the vintage poacher is a real good one.
Smoky gives you a really good, like a good charcoaly hit. I quite like it. On the big farmers market on that coming, I always go to that farmers market to get my smoked poacher cheese. it's great. But yes, that was, when we looked at that, was like, fellow cheese lovers, we must have the cheese question in here.
Well, I was looking through your website and I saw that you'd commented on where you'd done a blog on Barton Ghost Walk and how it had been turned virtual during lockdown and the pandemic and stuff like that. I just wondered if you could tell us a bit more about it, and has it gone back to normal now, and when's the next one, do you know, or anything like that?
So, to be honest, I'll need to get back in touch with because it's a local theatre group that run the Barton Ghost Walk. I think they're called South Bank Players.
They are indeed.
That's right. So, and it was Liz who each one of those story articles on our website are kind of based on an interview with one of the people who's kind of at the heart of the project or the story. And it was Liz who is one of the driving forces behind the Barton Ghost Walk. And it's one of those kind of institutional things in Barton, I guess, where like it starts on Halloween normally. And then they do one a month through, I think before pandemic times, they used to do one a month from October through to February, March. I think I've got that right. But obviously the pandemic meant that they couldn't do the walk in person. They had to rethink it. And for a while, and obviously even greater implications for the theatre group. It's been probably the sector that's been the hardest hit of any, is like the performing arts. So what happened is that they started doing things in virtual, like they had Zoom meetings of the theatre group and that kind of thing. But then when things began to open up last year, they had the idea of recording the walk, so they could make it available as like a virtual experience. And that was launched. I think they launched it around the Halloween time last year. Again, I might have these dates slightly wrong, but when I spoke to Liz, and this was quite a while ago now, they did have plans to get it up and running again. I don't know the exact dates, but I would really hope that they've been able to get it on course again to launch in time for this year, for Halloween this year. But I'll go and I'll check up on that with Liz and find out. But I really hope they're on course to do that, and I expect they are.
Do you know if the virtual one is still available to watch for anyone who wants to whet their appetite?
I'm sure it is. So either if you go to I think the South Bank Players Facebook page has got links to it, or you'll find their website. Or if you go on the story page on our website, there's a link on there. There's a link there on how you can access, and I think it costs £5 to download. Well worth it. Absolutely, It's loads of fun, and you can find it there as well.
Fantastic.
Awesome. That's something on our to-do list then, Elizabeth, because
it's getting long, isn't it?
It is. We love a good fancy dress, and we love something that's in a sort of Barton area because it's good for both of us to get to. So that's that one to do.
I think actually, what are we about? 20? Just over 25 minutes into this interview. I think we've waited long enough that we need to bring up the dog. We've been waiting quite a while, but it's about time that we bring up the dog now. So Regan is on her website, which, by the way, I loved. When I was going through, I was like, oh, they've introduced the dog, which is amazing. So tell us about Regan, who, by the way, is the cutest.
Yeah, he's brilliant. We adopted him, rescued him in July last year. So we've only had him for just over a year. But he is amazing, and I think he comes with us everywhere. So we try and find dog-friendly places, because actually there are a lot of people in Lincolnshire or who visit Lincoln that actually have dogs. So, there's lots of opportunities for sharing those spaces with them as well. But he's amazing. We have no idea what type of dog he is. We just know he's a lurcher, so we have no idea what mix.
I think you've come close to him with your description. I used to work in dog rescue, and I looked and I thought, that looks about right, actually. So I don't think you're far off. Although do please give a shout out to the rescue that you got him from, because they don't get enough highlight, I think.
Yeah, we got him from Coningsby Rescue. So not far from Woodhall Spa.
So how has life been adjusted to being new dog owners then?
It was interesting at first.
That was a really nervous laugh there, Reece.
mentioning Coningsby Rescue, we said before that we went to Woodall Spa this weekend. We were, this might sound ridiculous, but we were kind of worried that driving back to right near Coningsby, that he'd be worried that we were taking him back to the rescue centre.
You would be surprised how many times people think that. So you're not the only one. Yeah, because like I said, I used to work in dog rescue, and we used to have that all the time because the dog rescue I used to work at did like grooming and boarding and stuff like that, and everyone was quite worried about bringing their dogs back in to do that. They were like, I don't want him to think he's coming back. I don't think they remember a lot of the time.
No, I think it would be fine, wouldn't it? But since we had him, we had to make quite a lot of adjustments. I don't think you realise how many adjustments, but that's mainly because he can jump on counters. So
classic lurcher behaviour.
I think the first week we had him, he ate pastries, he ate all, just things that you just wouldn't think about. A whole block of cheese. Yeah.
Not the special cheese.
No, just the cheddar. But he turned around and he had this big block of cheddar in his mouth, and you're just like staring him out, and you know that. I think eventually he dropped it. It's adjusting to that. Has been fun.
Yes, nothing is safe with a dog. My parents looked after my dogs while we were away camping this time, only because we went with lots of other families and kids, and they were wanting to go to some other non-dog places. So that'd be fair, and we'd let them go for a little holiday at my mum and dad's house with their dogs, which they love. However, they're redoing their kitchen, and they had things boxed up in the house. My pug cross beagle, Rosie, who is a 13-year-old, very cantankerous old lady who knows what she wants, went missing in the house for a little bit. And she ate her way through a cardboard box to get to Mum's baking supplies, and ate a whole block of icing sugar and actually a whole bag of sultanas, which is very bad for a dog. Then spent the whole weekend throwing up all over my dad's bed, his clothes, the stairs. So when I picked those dogs up, I was not the best child that they have. Had to go with a lot of apology presents from holiday. They disgraced themselves. So yes, there is a lot of learning to do with dogs, and especially their misbehaviours. But they I think they're more of a character than you expect, aren't they? It's that they have a look, don't they?
I had no idea just how much personality they have as in like individual dogs. So different, because Alex has grown up with dogs and I've known my friends, but he's so different to any that I've ever met before, and I imagine everyone says that about their dogs. So
yes, because they're always the best ones.
Chalk and cheese, that's what my two are, aren't they? You can't get two more polar opposites than mine. We have two border collies, and everybody's like, oh yeah, get a border collie, they're really active and you can take them on walks and stuff like that. I mean, Dexter, he's been featured on this podcast. You might have heard him in background and us chatting to him before. He literally just gets up on a morning, gets on the sofa. I have to put something David Attenborough on, whether that's Blue Planet or whatever, just so that he can sit and watch it. That keeps him quiet. That is it. That is all he does. He does nothing else. He just wants to sit and watch David Attenborough. But then Pip, the other border collie, he is your typical runs around in circles, madness, manic, chasing after his tail, zoomies, and he's a normal border collie. So yeah, we have them two to try and deal with. So yeah, it is interesting that you know they've been raised in the same way, they've been raised in the same environment, but they are complete opposites when it comes to personality.
I am interested to know, because we used to have this in rescue quite a bit. Did you, before you got him, did you decide certain rules that you have since lapsed quite a bit? Because we used to have a lot of people going, he's only going to be downstairs, we're never going to let him upstairs, and he'll never be on the bed, or things like that. And then give it about 2 weeks, they'd be sending us pictures of them settled in, snuggled up in bed together, like, here we are! And I'm like, never going on the sofa, and then there's loads of pictures. So were you the same? Did you have these rules, and have you managed to stick to them, or has he won you over yet?
No, I don't remember that I don't. Just having this conversation makes me realise how unprepared maybe we were.
Well, I don't know, actually. If you were willing to go with the flow, that's probably the best approach you could have taken.
We didn't have rules. I think the one rule is that he couldn't sleep in our bed overnight when we were sleeping, and he still does that, so that's fine. Like, he's still on his bed.
Although he
Yes.
occasionally jumps up at 4 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mine does that. It's for morning cuddles. I don't want at 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's funny with Dexter. Now, when we say to Dexter, right, off to bed, and we have to actually put your bed in the sentence, because if we just say normal bed, he runs upstairs, gets to the top of the stairs, and then waits for us, like turns back and looks at us like, well, are you coming then? So we have to actually say to him, your bed, and then he goes into his little den in the kitchen.
So I think that what's great about that is I know you've already started doing that, but I think your blog is a great place to go to for people with dogs then that want to know where to go, because that is, you're right, there are lots of people that want to take their dogs on holiday with them and do that kind of stuff and go around with them, and it's we are a friendly place in terms of dogs, is Lincolnshire and Yorkshire. I think are probably the only ones that we have that huge array of places that pubs you can go in with dogs, cafes you can go in with dogs, specific dog beaches, and that kind of thing. I think that's probably what I love about Lincolnshire. I think it's dog friendly.
Definitely is. And the beaches are amazing for dogs because they're so, like we said earlier, so long and open, and they go, they're really shallow. So there's a lot of beach there for dogs to run around on. And yeah, I really like the fact that there are beaches all year round that you can take them to. It's perfect for Regan running off some of his steam.
Does he come back
is
though?
an amazing one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been there.
No.
It's so the part of the Saltfleet Beach where we take Regan, you have to park up, and then it takes about 15 minutes to walk through some kind of shrubland pretty much, and then but it's just such a huge expanse of sand, and there's because it's like a little bit out of the way, there's never anyone there, and as I said, like dog friendly all year round. It's just such a brilliant place to take him, to let him have a proper run around.
That's You're giving away all the quiet spaces.
I was about to say one of my dogs is actually really dog reactive, so I've never taken him to the beach for that reason. But I'll note that one down actually, because he's not a fan of water, and I'd like to get him better acquainted with, which is odd because it's German Shepherd cross Labrador, and both of those breeds are renowned for loving water, but he's terrified of it, so I want to take him somewhere where I can get him a little bit more used to it. So that sounds like a great place.
It is, yes, and I will take you there, Lizzie, because it's literally 6 minutes drive from my house.
Not with your dogs though.
But Dexter won't come, I can guarantee that. I'll just leave him with Telly on and we'll just take Pip.
We usually, and did this time, prep our guests for our final question.
Bravo, well done, Lizzie.
When I was writing this email, I thought, Hannah's going to be like, well done, Lizzie. Because the past few guests, I've absolutely forgotten this with, so I'm pretty happy that I've prepped it for you guys. So the question we ask all our guests is, if you were to have a dinner party and you could invite anyone, alive or dead, which 3 guests would you invite? Now, did you do this separately or together?
Did it separately.
Interesting. Ooh. That's what I like about that. I want to see if you've got... Do you know each other's answers yet?
Maybe.
Possibly. We had because we had dinner just before we recorded, and we had a little chat, so I've got an idea of what Lisa might do.
Oh, because I was intrigued to see if any of you picked the same one. Yeah. That was all. So, Alex, do you want to go first?
All right. So the thing with this, because obviously it's something that, having listened to your podcast before as well, that we knew was coming. And I think when you have this question about like assembling a dinner party, one of the natural inclinations is to think of like, who's my personal hero or who's like a music style that I like. But I thought what I'd like to do instead is assemble what would be kind of like an interesting and fun dinner party. So the first...
I like the angle.
Yeah. So who do you need at a dinner party? First of all, you need someone who makes you laugh. So I thought the first person I kind of thought of was a comedian. So then I thought about that a bit more, and then I thought we also like travel. And then thinking about comedian and travel at the same time got me around to thinking of Carl Pilkington.
Oh, yes.
So,
I thought you were going to go Dave Gorman then. But...
Well, Lisa's laughing because Dave Gorman was my other choice. Because Dave Gorman's my favourite. He's my favourite ever comedian.
I'm just going to drop in there that I've met him.
Oh, amazing! Have you really?
With a picture next to him or whatever.
Oh, that's superb. Oh, what was it? The Google Whack Adventure Days and all of that.
Yeah.
He's just outstanding. But the only reason I chose Carl Pilkington over Dave Gorman was I just thought it was kind of that entertainment value for a dinner party.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Great first guest. Who you pairing him with?
So this next one is really out of the left field. So what else do you want at a dinner party? Someone who can tell stories. And it made me think of a news story that I heard last year. I read about last year when the pandemic was just starting, and I read about this man in Italy who was over 100 years old, who had survived both the Spanish flu when he was a baby, and then caught COVID as at age of over 100 and survived both.
Wow.
Thought, right, so this guy, he's anonymous. His name it was reported on a few different websites, and he's just known as Mr. P. But I thought this guy is going to have lots of incredible stories to tell. So, yes, guest number 2 is Mr. P, Italian man who has survived two of the greatest pandemics of our time.
Luckily, this is a magical fictional dinner party, and you can get these people from anywhere, so you don't need to know his full name. It's like a genie spirits him in.
Well, this is the thing that hopefully Mr. P, I haven't heard anything since, so he might. It's obviously incredibly unlikely he would ever be able to assemble these guests, but they are all alive, so it's technically possible. So
cool. Yeah. So who are you pairing those two with? Who's going to be full of laughter and stories? What's the third?
The third one is just
cheese. I don't know.
Well, Lisa's going to hate me for this one because one of mine and Lisa's kind of favourite hobbies is we watch Neighbours religiously every day still. And so my third guest is Susan Kennedy off Neighbours.
I love it.
Because she just seems like a lot of fun. She's one of the longest standing characters on the show, and she would probably be able to tell us a lot about Ramsay Street. So there you go. Carl Pilkington, Mr. P, and Susan Kennedy.
That is
what a mix.
That is a great mix. I can actually imagine that being a really good dinner party.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, how on earth do you follow that?
I absolutely can't, can I? But because I again went down the route of trying to think who would be good around the table as well as just who I'd really like to meet. And I started with a woman called Adrienne Herbert.
Okay.
I don't expect people know much about her, but she's like a positive motivational speaker, but she does lots of classes on fit, and I listened to her podcast and she's just fun and sounds amazing, and I think I'd really like to be around her, so I think it'd be nice to have her for dinner. So if you don't know her, look her up because she is amazing. And it's actually quite possible because she lives next door to my best friend's mum. So it's a bit strange.
You could actually theoretically have her on for dinner if you engineer some sort of crisis.
Yeah, I was going to say, although I think it might be a bit weird that I show up at my best friend's mum's house and knock on her next door neighbour's door. But yeah,
what you could say is, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've got the wrong door. Actually, I meant to be next door. I don't know how that happened."
I'm just doing some research for my blog.
While I'm here, though, we are having dinner, and my guest didn't show up. So there you are. That's how it happens.
Oh, that would be amazing. I think she's really fun, and I'd love to meet her. And then next to her, I would have Sharon Horgan, who is an Irish actress, and she is she's a comedian as well. She's hilarious. I don't know if you've seen Catastrophe.
I was going to say, is it less from Catastrophe? She's fun.
I think she would be a really good laugh, and I think she'd be interesting to meet as well.
Absolutely, I think she'd be great at a dinner party, and also who doesn't enjoy the Irish accent? So exactly. I could listen to her all day.
Yeah, exactly, and then you need someone to look at, is what I thought. So I was going to go with Thor off of the market.
Chris Hemsworth. He's on my list. You can't have him.
Yeah. So, the two women, and we can talk about motivation and also, interact with Thor. I thought that'd be cool.
Now, is he coming as Chris Hemsworth or is he coming as Thor?
He's coming as Thor, but is Chris Hemsworth as Thor? That's how.
So she'll be having a lot of glasses smashed as he's asking for more.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not my favourite scene in Thor.
Great film. Those are two very different but very good dinner pies.
Yeah.
I think it's helped us learn a lot about you as well, which is the point of that question. So thank you very much for doing your thorough research. This is what happens when you prep your guests with the question, Anna. So before you go, we always give our guests a chance to promote anything they want to do. I'm assuming you're going to want to promote the blog, but you feel free to promote whatever you like, actually. Here's your moment.
Cool, thank you. So Lincoln and Beyond is the name of the blog. The website, obviously it's going to be in the show notes or however you describe it, lincolnandbeyond.co.uk, but you'll find us on all the social medias with that name. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Lincoln and Beyond. I think on Twitter it's Lincoln Beyond because it's too long to fit the whole name. We've got a Facebook group, but we're not doing much with it at the moment. But in the long term, we want that to become kind of a community to share ideas about things to do in Lincolnshire. That's called the Lincoln and Beyond community. So please come and join that and maybe help us to get it going a little bit as well. So that's somewhere else you can join in the Lincoln and Beyond fun.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, you've been absolutely great guests and it's been a pleasure to have you on, and hopefully Lincoln City Foundation and Lincoln Beyond can join up more in the future.
Yes.
It's been fabulous. Thanks for having us.
I think that wraps up our podcast. It was great to have Alex and Lisa on and talk to them a little bit more about Lincolnshire. I think we've properly nailed the brief this time for this podcast, haven't we? We've fully covered Lincolnshire and beyond.
We've covered Lincolnshire and beyond, and we've also covered dogs, as usual, and food, and cheese.
Yeah, we just managed to get the food in, didn't we? We were going so good until I thought, this is going to be a podcast that we've done where we've not mentioned food at all. But alas, we slipped into our old ways. Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this too. If you love listening all about Lincolnshire, all about things that are happening in the county, and you want to hear more, please don't forget to subscribe, like our podcast, and share it with other people. If you, like Alex and Lisa were, listening to this and thinking, I'd be an excellent guest on this, then please do get in touch, because we do like to hear from excellent guests, don't we? All you have to do is email marketing@lincolncityfoundation.co.uk and you could be the next person that we're talking about on this podcast. See you soon.
Bye.